like being up here on the podium, but that's where my computer is, so most of the time that's where I'm going to be. But I just wanted to say thank you for joining me for Hidden Google Gems. For some of you, you're going to have life-changing experiences. You're going to be like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to learn. Some people are going to go, yes, I knew that. And that's okay, okay? Because I wanted to try and get a variety of things that I could share with you. I was changing this presentation right up to about 10 minutes before I walked in the door. Because I am always discovering something new in Google. How many people have discovered something new at the Q conference? Right? Now, how many of we could all share? Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, wait, we can. So, if you're not already on Twitter, please get on Twitter. And I love new friends. So feel free to follow me, and I'll follow you right back. So my name is Truger, and I had 20 plus years as a classroom teacher in special education. Then I went on and I was an administrator for 3 years as a director of EdTech Innovation for a large urban school district in the Chicago area. Yes, I shoveled my way to the car yesterday to get here. It was very much, it's been very much a shock to my system. You know, I shoveled yesterday morning, got off the plane, and it was 90 degrees. It's a big change. I am a full-time PD consultant. I'm also a full-time mom. I have 2 boys, teenagers. One's 18, and he's doing an internship in Orlando at Disney World. Pretty awesome, right? He's also on the autism spectrum. Yeah. So that just goes to show, you know, when you're talking about growth mindset, if anybody had put my kid in a box, he would not be where he is today. So thank you to all the teachers out there who listened when I said he could learn to read. I also have a 15-year-old, almost 16-year-old who thinks he's getting a car on his 16th birthday. Not going to happen. But he was in utter shock and dismay when he came home from school and said, oh, I left my homework at home. And I said, really? Open up your Google Drive. You know about Google? Yes, I know about Google, and I know that your homework assignment is sitting there in your drive. So I am also a Google Certified Trainer and a Google Certified Innovator. So I'm really excited. This is my very first Q conference, so thank you. All right, so this is where all of my gems are hosted. I'll show this again at the end. Throughout the entire slide deck, there are videos. Note to self, don't click on them. Okay? Don't click on them. We're going to have lots of little videos going off all at the same time. So you can use the QR code reader. If you've never used a QR code reader, one that I recommend is iNigma, I-N-I-G-M-A. It works on Android and iOS, and I find it to be one of the easier ones to use. And it works better than the one that somebody convinced me was worth $9.99. Okay, and this one's free. All right, so first up is Google Drive. So let's go find some buried treasure in Google Drive. So, first things first. Again, remember, some of these are going to be like, yeah, I knew that. Others are going to be life-changing. So the first thing I want to talk about is the eye. Does anybody know about the eye? So when you have a folder full of stuff, right? So this is a folder full of images. It's really easy to see my images right now, isn't it? No. What I have to do is open, double-click on every little image to see them, right? Nope. I'm going to go ahead down here and click on the first image, and you see this eyeball right here? And now I'm using my arrow key. I'm going through all of my images without opening a single one. How many people that was new? Awesome! All right, so that's how easy it is, okay? Now, if I wanted to do something with the photo, I can click Open With, and because it's an image, it'll take me straight to my image editing tools. Pretty cool? Okay, I've got Cami right here. Well, Cami is actually how it's pronounced. Cami right here. Cami will let me open it up and also draw on it and annotate on it. I've got PicMonkey where I can go in and do different effects. But I have the choice right here. I can also just click Download and download it right away. I can print it, and if I come over here, I can share directly from here. And I didn't even have to open the file. Pretty cool? So now I'm going to go back to my list just by clicking that. So this will only work. Now, I do want to show you a cool place that it also works, and that would be right here. So I'm going to click on this slide deck, which is the slide deck we have right here. And down here, I have little arrows. I can actually go through the slide deck, and I've never opened it using preview. Okay? I want to go back to my list. I just click right here, and that takes me back to my list. All right, so that was our first gem. What do we think? Oh man, I'm gonna have to work hard to get some more. That's okay. So the next one I want to talk about is the asterisk. So in my drive, I worked in the school district that started with the letter W. Okay? Now, in your Google Drive, where do you find all of your files that start with W? At the bottom, right? And that was a problem. So what I did was I renamed my files and I put asterisks in front of the name, and it pops them to the very top of my deck. So what I do is I put asterisks in the ones that I need at the top, and then I color code them so I know that they're the files that I'm currently working in. That's my management strategy for my Google ecosystem. Okay? So the asterisk, once you put 1, if you want something higher, you got to add more, which is why this one's got like 3 asterisks. Okay? When I'm not working on that file anymore, I just take off the asterisks. I do want to caution you, how many people share folders? Right? So when you share folders and you have an asterisk in the name, what happens to the folder, to the person you're sharing it? It's at the top. So you got to make sure that everybody's on the same page, or they're going crazy, looking alphabetically. They don't even notice that it's at the top. Okay? So that's asterisks. So asterisks are just a really simple thing that you can do that's really awesome to kind of help things out. The next thing I'm going to show you is adding 1 item to 2 folders. Anybody ever want to do that? I always want to do that. Now, I will caution you on a couple of things with this. There are some kind of little things that can go wrong, okay? So, to put something into 2 folders. So, I have 2 folders right here. You see the 2 folders? And I'm going to go ahead and take this sample doc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Option key and the Z. I believe on the PC it's Control, but I'm not 100% on that. Okay, and I think on the Chromebook it's Command. But it's with the Z. So on the Mac, it's the Option Z key, and I'm going to drag it up and put it in folder 1. Okay? Now, look, it's still in my drive. I'm going to do Option Z again, drag it up, put it in folder 2. Now, I can go ahead and look inside my folder, and it's in folder 1, and it's in folder 2. Now I'm going to go into the doc, and I'm going to type something. Maybe. Come on. There we go. Okay, so I just typed in gobbledygook. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close it up. Now this one was in which folder? I can look and see. Oh look, it's in folder 2 and folder 1. So when I go back into my Q folder over here, and I open up folder 1, the sample doc now has what I wrote here. And then if I go into folder 2, if I go into folder 2, it also is right there. So it's one single live document, and it's in multiple folders. Now, what if I delete it out of one of those folders? What do you think happens? the problem. If somebody deletes it out of folder 1, it will disappear out of folder 2. The only way to remove it is to actually go in and just move the document versus deleting it, okay? But there are times where you want an item in multiple folders, and so that is something that you can do. All right? Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is Google Dropbox. Google Dropbox. Okay, so what do I mean by Google Dropbox? What I mean is, I was having a contest. I had people designing a logo for my company. I wanted everybody to turn in their submissions via Google. Okay? I didn't want anybody to be able to see the other people's things. I didn't want anybody else to be able to edit anybody else's, right? Because it was a contest and there was $100 at stake. So here are the directions for creating your own Google Dropbox. So when you click on this, it'll have you make a copy. These are the 10 easy steps, okay? I'm going to walk through them, but you have access to this because it's connected in the slide deck. So the first thing you're going to do is you have to go get the script. So the script is at tinyurl.com/Google Dropbox script. That's the thing. Now, I did not write this script. I do not write any of these scripts. I have no idea how to do scripting. Scripting is when you can get Google to do things you never knew it could do. Okay? It's like the magic that goes on behind the scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a copy of the work collector script. Now, sometimes scripts take a minute to copy, so we're going to give it a second. Has anybody used scripts before? Okay, whenever anybody uses an add-on, they're using a script. It's just all fancied and prettied up, so you don't have to do anything special with it. So now I have the copy, and the next thing I have to do is I go to line number 12, and I change this to whatever folder name I want to use to collect my stuff. So I'm going to say Google Dropbox, okay? I'm going to scan back out here. Then I'm going to go up to Publish, and I'm going to go Deploy as Web App. Now it's going to give me a box, and I'm sorry if anybody's getting seasick, I'm just trying to make sure you can see. Down here, who has access? I want anyone, even anonymous, to have access to this, because otherwise people can't give me their submissions without me saying, oh yeah, you can be in my contest. No, I opened it up to anybody, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then I'm going to click Deploy. It's going to always ask for permissions, and you should always at least scan the permissions that you're giving to a script. I'm going to allow it. And now down here, there's a URL. I'm going to copy that URL, then I'm going to click OK. I'm going to come up here to a new tab. I'm going to close up some of these other tabs so I don't start running into issues. And I'm going to paste that URL, hit return, and what you'll see is a Google Dropbox. So now I can go ahead and put in my name, okay? I can choose a file, click open, upload the file, and I know you guys can't see it in the way back, but literally all it's telling me is what to do. Then it says it's been uploaded successfully. Now on my end, I own the file. I'm going to go into my drive. I own the folder the file is going into, and I'm going to find, I really hate getting old. I'm going to find my Google Dropbox. There it is. Open it up, and there's the file that I just uploaded. So now anybody that I give that URL to can upload an image into this box. Now it seemed really complex, but was actually pretty easy, right? But doesn't it scare you when people say, oh, I've got a script you could use? And then you look at all that scripting language and you're like, ah, but all I have to do is change one thing, okay? And there's a video on how to do this as well on that same document. Okay, so Google Dropbox, do we like it? Is that a good one? Are you still in awe or what? Okay, so we're going to move on to Google Sheets now. Does anybody have their own trick for for a Google Drive that they want to share? Is there anybody out there who wants to share? It's okay if you don't. I'm just asking because I always like to learn too. Got one right here?
Google Forms has a file upload question now.
Google Forms has a file upload question. So you mean when you upload, you can upload anything? Oh yeah, you're right. You can upload anything to Google Forms now. It's really, everything's changing so rapidly. Okay, Google Sheets. First thing I'm going to show you is something called Sheet Events. Sheet Events is another one where I'm going to copy the document. Come on. Really, I am going to copy the document. Okay, if it doesn't work, I'm going to go to another way of doing this. Oh, it's trying. I see the little thing spinning. Give it 1 minute, and then I'm going to move on. Okay, here we go. So my calendar ID. So I just happen to know my calendar ID simply because I've been doing this so many times. And my calendar ID is actually just my email address. Now, when you're using lots of different calendars, you'll have really weird calendar IDs. The way you find your calendar ID, this only works with Google Calendar. So I'm going to go ahead to Google Calendar just to show you where you would find that. I'm clicking much faster than the internet wants me to. Yeah, my calendar's a little crazy. Okay, so when you go into your calendar and you go to your calendar settings, there's a unique calendar ID. Mine's down here. This is the calendar ID. Now that one, there's no way I would know it by heart. That's why I'm using the other one. Okay, but that's where you find your calendar ID. It's in that area where it says iCal, HTML, calendar ID. Okay? So now on the sheet, it tells me exactly what to do. So I've typed in my email address, and now I've got my start date. I can change my start date just by clicking on it. I can change my date, I can change my end date, and then click to log events. So it's asking, of course, for my authorization. So it's I'm giving it these permissions, clicking allow. And now I have successfully logged all events from my calendar. So if I go down to the second tab that was created, this is everything from my calendar. All the things that were taken from my emails, the email information is there, any webinars I was at, all the information to log in is there, who it came back from, was it created by somebody else, was it created by me, all that information just like that. Has anybody ever wanted to find out everything on their calendar, to go back and look at things? You know, sometimes when I'm doing professional development and I have like, you know, somebody's like, well, how many classes have you offered? Well, if I go to my PD calendar and I get the ID and I run this, I can tell you exactly how many. Okay? So that's Sheet Events. I think that's the right name. Yeah. By School Smart Cloud. The next one I'm going to show you is a shout out to Alice Keeler, who is a friend of mine and a Californian, and I was kind of hoping I'd see her this trip. I'm going to go ahead and open up the roster tab. So roster tab, Alice has, I don't know how she does it, but she has amazing resources on her website, alicekiller.com. And I spent like 5 days with Alice, and she blew my mind every single day. I was so confused by everything she was teaching me, but I figured out some things. So this roster tab one is one I really like. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go back into my Q folder, because I have some data there that I can use. So roster tab, what it is I need a list of names. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this list of names. Take it over to the roster tab, and then right underneath the words, I'm going to, right here, and the directions are right here. Like, they make it so easy to use these things. It's just a matter of knowing that they're out there. I'm going to go ahead and paste those names in. And I'm going to go up to roster tabs. So notice that roster tabs is up at the top. It says add-ons, help, and roster tab. I'm going to run roster tab. Needs my authorization. And now what you'll see at the bottom of my screen, look what's happening at the bottom. It's automatically creating a tab for every single name on that list. Does anybody have to keep track of like reading logs and things like that? One tab automatically created for everybody on my list. What do we think? You like? Make sure you let Alice Keeler know because that is her baby and it is awesome. All right, so now I'm going to show you some of my favorite add-ons for sheets, just very simple sheets add-ons, but I'm just going to show you a couple because they changed my life when I realized I could do these things. I need a quick sip. All right, so how many people gather information in a Google form and say name, and everybody types their first and last name, and then you go to your form and you can't sort until you copy, cut, copy, cut, copy, paste to get the names into two different columns, right? Your first name and last name. So this one, and then go ahead, this one is called Power Tools. This is an add-on. So to get add-ons, if you don't know, whenever you're on a doc, you can go to the add-ons column, and at the bottom of mine, which I can't get to if I go that big, I go to get add-ons. And this is where you can get some of those scripts that just run by themselves, okay? So this one is called Power Tools, and I'm going to Power Tools, and I'm going to start the Power Tools. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Split. I'm going to split, my column has a header, so I'm going to let it know it has a header. I want to split it by first name and last name. Go. Done. How many people just got back 8 hours of their life, right? Okay, that was happening to me all the time. It was making me absolutely nuts. So that's one of them, okay? The next one is merge values, because sometimes you need to put two things together instead of take them apart. So I'm going to close that. Actually, I should have left it open, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab these values. I'm going to go to my add-ons, and I'm going to go to merge values. And these are all names of add-ons. Everything I'm saying is an add-on. Okay, I'm going to get each selected row. I'm going to put a comma with a space, left cell, yep, okay, good, merge. And so now it just merged them into one column for me. Can you see that up there? I saw a hand go up. Yes?
What add-on was that called?
Merge values. Merge values. There's several ones out there that'll let you merge values. That's just the name of one, that's all it does is merge values. Okay? The next one I'm going to show you I think is really cool. It's a mapping one. And this is called mapping, I think it's mapping sheets. So I'm just going to get some data here. I've got some data from my former district. They're always good for data. You can go to add-ons, mapping sheets, start mapping. So it's going to open up over here. Learning my language. Okay, this is new. We're just going to let that go. Okay, so I'm going to do name, category, address, and I'm going to have it build my map. So what you'll see is that I have the names of my schools, the category of type of school, the address, and if they were part of a one-to-one pilot. If I click on view, it maps out everything for me. So now if I hover over these pins are all color-coded by the types of schools. And if I go to the pin and I look, it says one-to-one pilot, no. One-to-one pilot, yes, iPads. So I've got all this data and I didn't have to do it. All I had to do was put in the information. Okay? Think of the possibilities with different community outings, social studies, getting to know your community. Think about all the amazing things that you could do with this. Mapping sheets. All right, then I'm going to do one more of these and I'm going to move on. So one of the things that drives me absolutely bonkers is the fact that you can only add like one space, like when you're trying to add rows. So there's one called, it's very simple. It's add rows and columns. So add rows above, and I'm going to add 10 rows, and done. You can also remove rows. You can add columns, all of these things. And it's just that simple, okay? So those are the sheet add-ons that I like to use. All right, so that's Google Sheets. So now we're gonna move on to Google Drawing. How many people love Google Drawing? I'm so glad to see a few hands. Usually people are like, yeah, I have no idea what to do with Google Drawing, right? But Google Drawing, there's so many amazing things that you can do, and some of the things that I'm gonna show you for Google Drawing also work in Google Docs, okay? So I'm gonna open up what I've already created here, and that's Canvas and color matching. Okay, where is my image? Oh, I'm gonna go get it. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go up to Insert, and I'm gonna go to Image, and let's see, we're gonna do a search. And I don't know if you knew this, but you can search directly to Google without leaving and going to find stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and put, let's see, let's do St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so I'm going to pick one of these. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to click Select. So now I have this huge image. I'm going to shrink it down, and what I want to show you is how you can color match. But first, I want to show you down here at the corner, you see these little lines? This lets you shrink up your canvas. So when you shrink up your canvas, has anybody ever created something in Draw and then tried to, like you downloaded it and you put it into something and hit all this space around it? So if you shrink up your canvas, you won't have that issue. That's what the shrinking up of the canvas is for. And I'm going to go ahead and shrink this picture up just a little bit. Now again, everything I'm talking about, there's a little video. So I'm going to show you some things and you're going to go, wait, can you do that again? But there's a video, I promise. So one of my favorite extensions, we just had a whole session on extensions, the group before me. One of my favorites is Color Pick Eyedropper. And that's this right here. So I'm going to match this green exactly. So when I click on it, notice it gives me a little color code. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to close the box. Zoom back out. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write something. Okay, now I want that to match the color that I just found. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my, first I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go up to my colors for my text. See where it says custom? It doesn't look like a button, but if you click custom, it gives you a little box. And you go ahead and paste in your code, click OK, and now your words match. See how it disappears because it matches? So that's the Color Pick Eyedropper, and that's this extension right up here, this little like rainbow one. The one thing to remember is that when you click on something, once you drag it off and you click on something, you have to close the box, but you want to copy that number first. This works, this works with shapes, this works with letters. And it's just a great way. It'll work on a web page. So if you're on a web page and you're trying to match lettering to a web page or to a picture, all of these things can be matched. Okay, so that's color matching and the canvas. Close that one up. And the next thing I want to show you is image cropping and masking. So here's an image, maybe. So here's a picture of my family. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the image. And when I click on the image, my toolbar changes. So I can go ahead and do a crop. So I'm going to go ahead and crop first. Because I don't know about you, but I eat too much at Christmas, so I don't want to see that. All right, so I'm going to crop this picture. I'll crop it right there, click outside of it, it's cropped. But if I want to make sure that the whole thing, I can just double click and then I can move it. And then I can make sure that it's centered the way that I want it centered, okay? Now, the other thing that I think is so cool is this little drop-down arrow. Because when you see a little drop-down arrow, that always means there's more, okay? It's like the most exciting thing. So when you click on that little arrow, it gives you access to shapes. It gives you access to arrows. It gives you access to call-outs. I think I'm going to use call-out for this one. And now I have just masked my picture, okay? And I can change it however I want to. I can mask it. Now, the problem there is I cut off my son's head, but if I double click on my image, I can fix it. Okay? Now, what can I do with this image? I can download this image and upload it and put it into my Google Docs. I can print this image. I can use it on a website, any of the above. I just have to go to the file and download it as a JPEG or a PNG. And once I do that, I can use it anywhere I would use another image, okay? So that's image cropping and masking. All right, Google Slides. Oh, I can't believe we're halfway done already. I have way too much here. Okay, Google Slides. This is one that I really, really enjoy. This is link resource page. So, where's my ocean life? Oh, where'd my ocean life go? All right, hold on, I gotta get my ocean life. Ocean life. Is that the one from today? Yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, so this is ocean life. And I'm going to go ahead and, as soon as this pops up, I'm going to delete some things really fast off of here. Okay. Internet's just not keeping up with me. I'm too quick. Okay. There's another thing there. So what you can do with a Google slide is, especially if you're teaching elementary kids, you can give them a list of URLs, and that's fine, but this is a neater way to kind of give them that information. So what you can do is, I have this image, and I can go ahead and I'm going to make a shape. I'm going to get a square, and I guess I'll just do starfish again. So I made my square. Now I'm going to come up and I'm going to get my text tool. And I'm going to highlight and put in the text, starfish. Okay, I just realized something. That's all right, I'll fix it later. Okay, starfish. So now I need to go get a YouTube video about starfish. So I'm going to come up here and do 5 facts about starfish. See what we get. Oh, we'll do 11 facts. That'll work. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to get my YouTube link. And then this is something that I use because I've been burned before. It always makes me nervous to go to YouTube in front of kids. Right? So I use, is that the right one? Wait, nope, it's not. I had a link. There we go, safeyoutube.net. Has anybody used this one? So you paste your URL in, you click generate link, and you can customize it even. If you come in, you can give it, I'll give it a background. I don't want the kids to download it, so I can turn that off. I'm gonna click save. And now I can either copy and paste this URL into Google Classroom or wherever I'm going, or I can just go to Safe View, and this is what it'll look like. It's all stripped away. There's nothing there to cause any issues. So that's safeyoutube.net, and I'm going to just pause it right there, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to take this URL, except for I didn't grab it, Copy, take it back here. I've already got this highlighted, so I'm gonna go to my Command K to make it a link. Click apply. So now there's a link. Now this is fine. I mean, yeah, if you click on it, you have to come down here, but there's a cooler way, okay? And what it takes is coming up here, and this is, okay, you've got this big long identifier. See where it says edit? I'm gonna change it to the word present. I'm gonna hit return, shrink back out, and now when I hover over it, it's a pointer. And the kids can't get out of it, the kids can't change it, the kids can't delete it, and it takes them where you want them to go. What do we think? I have to give a shout out to Dennis Grace, who's not here. He's teaching in China. Normally he'd be at this conference. And that was his brainchild, and I love it. So I wanted to make sure that I give him a shout out. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about is just creating your own slide backgrounds. How many people make your own backgrounds? Okay, a few people do. So I'm going to show you a fast way to make your own background, if the internet will keep up with me. Okay, so you can do a search for backgrounds to find images and things. Obviously in my hidden Google Gems, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like gems behind it. Okay, so I've got my make my own background here. I'm going to go click on the word background, and I'm going to choose an image. And I have an image on my desktop, so I'm going to just go get that. Choose my image. Come on. There we go. And my desktop. It's really hard to see things this small. There we go. I'm sure you in the back can't see either. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to add this to my theme and click done. Now, that is really pretty, but could I write on that and would you be able to see it? Not really, right? So what I like to do, and this is just something I prefer to do, I go to shapes and I make a square. Okay, now that's fine, but you can't see the fun colors behind it, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and into my fill can, I'm gonna go into my customization, and this slider over here makes it transparent. So now that I have this, I'm going to take a screenshot of it just like this. I'm going to make sure my edges line up. And the reason is because otherwise I have a square on top, but it's not added to my theme and it could be moved. So I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm going to go back to my background again. Actually, let's do this. Let's make another slide. There we go. See, because when I made another slide, it didn't keep my background. So I want to go back to my background. Go back to choose my image, and when I go to my desktop, my screenshot's up at the top. Click open, add to theme, click done. Now when I add it, they all have my transparent background. And that's a quick and easy way to design your own backgrounds. Because I don't know about you, but the themed backgrounds, they don't make me happy. I like things that are bright and colored the way I want them to be. Okay, so this lets you create your own. What do we think? You like that? All right. Okay, and this is one that a friend of mine just showed me. I'm going to show it to you right here, right now. If I hold down my Command key, I think it's Control on a PC. If I hold it down and I use my arrow key, it'll move my slide. Did you know that? I didn't. So that was just a new one to show you real quick. All right. I'm going to refresh this because I think that there was something missing. Let's see. All right, here we go. So now we're going to move to Google Docs. Okay? Now everybody uses Google Docs. Everybody loves Google Docs. There are a couple of tools in Google Docs that people don't always use. And so I just want to show you a couple. So one of the tools that my son, who's on the spectrum, this was like a really big deal for him. He has very difficult fine motor control. Handwriting is excruciating for him. When I had the teacher who said he couldn't turn anything in on the computer, I raised the roof. I became that parent that I promised them I wouldn't if they treated my kid fairly. But that wasn't fair, right? So this tool is voice typing, and I don't know how great it's going to work with my mic, but we'll see if we can get it to work. So if you go to Tools and you go to voice typing, it'll start recording everything that you say. And my son got really good at dictating to the computer. New paragraph. That was really cool, right? Exclamation mark, question mark. Oh, I didn't get that one. Oh, almost did. Okay, so it's just recording what I say. Now, I did teach special ed, kids with behavior challenges, and if you try to curse, it prints the first 2 letters and asterisks the rest. Because somebody asked me that question and I was like, I am not going to try that in front of an audience. Okay, so that's voice typing. The cool thing about voice typing, yeah, well that's not a bad word. All right, so the neat thing about voice typing is also if you click this question mark, it tells you, like when I did new paragraph, that's a command. There's a whole list of commands. You have to train yourself though to read and talk so that the computer understands what you're saying. End of sentence. Capital letter, ICE, like it just, you have to train it to listen to you. And it doesn't work great with a microphone. But now up here, there's another little drop down arrow because you can also talk to it in all these languages. So if I go to Espanol, now I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not really good, but I will do my best. Adios, amigos. Oh, I forgot to hit start. I was doing so good. Adios, amigos. It's thinking about it. Yeah, let's try that again. Adios, amigos. Adios, amigos. You don't want to talk to me anymore? Okay. When you do, what I was going to say is when you do that, it even puts the accents in. Now, it's not always 100% correct. But there were times where, like, I said hace frío, and at first it said hasta, and then it changed it to hace because it figured out what I was trying to say. So it does learn as you talk, and I have very, very poor Espanol, so don't go by what I say. I see a hand in the back. It shows up as spell check just because it's a doc, but it doesn't, I don't think it would. Yeah, because it does that in a Google Doc anyway, as part of the doc. So the question was, do we have one that reads to you? There are different ways and different accessibility tools that will read text to speech. One that's a really good one is Read and Write for Google, which is free for teachers, but there's a cost for students. But that's a really good one. It also has word prediction and a bunch of other tools with it. On the Mac computers, your accessibility tools, you can highlight and have it speak to you. But there aren't a lot of extensions that I've found that work really well. So it's really what's built into the computer, more or less, works better, in my opinion, than the other stuff, except for Read and Write for Google. That works flawlessly. Other questions? I thought I saw some more hands. Okay. All right, so that's voice typing. I love voice typing. All right, so the other things I wanted to show you are extra fonts. So sometimes I get very bored with the fonts that we are given. If you go into your fonts and go all the way down to the bottom, it says more fonts. And you can just turn on the ones that you want. And I had no idea these were even in here. And once they're turned on, they're part of your docs every time you open it up. Now you can also use an add-on. This add-on is called Extensis Fonts. And when you click start, I'm going to close this menu. When you click start, it brings up all sorts of fonts here. And then if you want one of these fonts, I'm trying to find one that would show up. If you want one of these fonts, you just click on it and it uses it. And then when you click on it, the font will show up here as well. Now, when you leave this dock, that font won't be there. But for that dock, the font will be there. So you can add fonts that way. And then once you find them here, you could also look for them in the big list to add them to your doc. Yes?
What if you shared that document with someone else? Would those fonts still show up for them?
Yes. Because they're linked to the doc. And because the doc is one document, it's not a second document, it would all be there. All right. And now, my favorite new thing. How many Google Keep users are in here? How many people already know what I'm going to tell you? Keep Notepad. Your Google Keep notes now open up right next to your Google Docs. Now, why is this an awesome, amazing, like life-changing kind of thing? Because there's so much you can do with it. So let's say that we want, oh, there are my notes from this session before. So every note that I take is going to show up here. If I come into my sample doc, these are different things that I can do. Now there are I put sample writing comments here, okay? So if I wanted to make a comment on this writing, keeping in mind that I'm not even looking at what I'm clicking on, I'm going to copy and paste right into the comment, done. So think about when you're commenting and doing editing with your students, if you have a list of the most common things you have to write over and over and over again, you just have to copy it and paste it. What do we think?
Awesome.
Right? Now, you know what else you could do with this? You could have learning standards in there. You could have anything that you need to be adding to documentation on a big time basis, you can do that. Okay, so it's fantastic. Now here's the other thing, and this I just think is so cool. When you click on take a note, notice that the sample doc is added to my note. So now I could go in, as I did with this one here, sample doc, the sample doc is attached. And this is what I need my son to do. This is a checklist. I can send him my Google Keep list with the checklist so he knows what to do. And then as he finishes things, he just clicks on them, they cross off. So that's pretty cool. So that doc now is in my Google Keep as well as in my Google Drive. Like? I am so excited. This like literally is like a week's old news. This is something brand new. Did I see any hands? I thought I saw hands somewhere. Yeah. Pardon? The access? It was under tools. Hold on. Tools right there and Keep Notepad. And if you've never used Google Keep for people who like Post-it notes, it will change your world. Okay, my husband and I used to go shopping separately and come home with the exact same stuff. So now we have a list. And whenever one of us buys something, we check it off. When my son moved to Orlando, I was at the store buying all the stuff on his list. And while I was standing there at Target, 6 more things popped up on that list. Okay? So you can share the list. You can set reminders so that you get a little notification saying, hey, did you go shopping for what you need? Okay, so there's a lot of really great things that go along with Google Keep. And to find your Google Keep, go to keep.google.com. If you have a Google account, you have a Google Keep account, whether you use it or not. Okay? So that's Google Keep. Let's see. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is force a copy. Let me close up some of this stuff so it doesn't get all confused with me. All right, so force a copy. How many people have clicked on a link and they get that window that says, make a copy? Don't you want to know how to do that? So that you don't have to share everything as view only and say, go to File, go to Make a Copy, right? You just want them to make a copy. So up in the URL, again, this is one of those things where you have to look at this crazy amount of letters and numbers that identifies your doc. Where it says Edit, you change it to Copy. So now when I copy that URL and paste it, I'm forced to make a copy. Was that easy enough? I thought that was going to be the hardest thing in the world, and when I realized how easy it was, I was like, oh, right? I saw a hand. Because you own it, you own it. So it's just when you share it out, instead of giving the URL for the shareable link, you would give this link. Okay? All right, oh boy, I'm running out of time. Okay, hold on, let me look at what I still haven't done. Okay, Chrome. All right, I'm gonna, Control F is just any website you're on. If you're looking for something, do a Command or Control F, type in what you're looking for, it'll find it. So like when I needed to find out when I was presenting, I went on the big list of stuff, typed in my name, it popped right up. Okay, that's a really simple one. Mute audio in tab. This one I'm going to show you real quick. So if you click on it, you'll get the directions. They're right here. You see this crazy URL thing? It says Chrome flags enable tab audio muting. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it in the browser just so you can see what happens. What this does is takes you internally into Chrome, which is a really scary idea. I know, I saw people like shaking, okay? But what it does is it takes you to this right here. Tab Audio Muting UI Control. Mine says disable. You would click on enable, okay? And what that does is when you have, so let me go ahead and run this. Have you ever been in that situation where all the sound is coming and you don't know where it's coming from? Well, now when you look up here, there's a little speaker that you can mute. What? I told you. Okay. So, and it was just that simple. You just had to go through those steps to get that done. All right. I'll show you one more on here. Adding extension keyboard shortcuts. So I love my extensions. How many people are like extension crazy like me? Oh my God, I'm so crazed with extensions. So when you go into your settings, this is one of my favorite things. If you go to extensions, at the very bottom of the page, although you might be able to do it at the top and I just missed it, it says keyboard shortcuts. When you click on that, one of my favorite ones to use is Crafty Text. And I'm gonna give it a key command so that I can use Crafty Text. So I'm gonna use Alt and C as my Crafty Text. So I'm gonna close this up, and everybody's like, what's Crafty Text? What's that? Well, let me tell you what that is. So Crafty Text, if I do my Alt C, brings up this box. And when I hit return, it makes it mega huge. I see like faces like, oh. Okay. And then to get rid of it, I do Alt-C again. So when I have a keyboard command, I can actually hide it in my Chrome extensions. I don't have to see it. I can just hide it in the Chrome extensions. Okay? So that's adding, and again, if you click on these clapboards, they're all videos telling you how to do all of this stuff. Because I want you to be able to rewind the learning when you're not sitting here and you're half dead and really tired and all that fun stuff. All right, okay, I'm going to show you one more. I know I keep saying that, but I still got 5 minutes. All right, so I'm going to go to Google search. One of the things that drives me crazy is when I do a search and I go to one of the findings, and then I lose all the others, and I have to like click the back button to get back to my original search. So if you go into your Google search and go down to settings and go to search settings, there's a very small little thing down here. It says when results open, if you check that box, every result that you open opens in the new tab, and you never lose your original search. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's very simple. Make sure you click save when you're done on that one. Let's see. Oh, well, okay, I'll do one Google Fun. All right, one Google Fun. Let's see. Let's go to. Okay, I'm going to go to image search. So these are just for fun, but if you haven't played it in a while, we can play Atari Breakout. It takes all my images and lets me play a game. I'm not very good at it though. Okay, so it's just for fun. Another one for fun. Oh, this one always makes me nervous. Google Feud. Let's go play the feud. What does Google think? Now, I can tell you right now, sometimes I regret clicking on these things. Poems about, okay, how would Google complete this? Poems about love. Ding, 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 number one answer. Poems about, what was that? Couldn't hear. Death? Wow, you guys are good. Poems about? Nature. Now, if you get one wrong, you get an X. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't use this with your students because you never know what's going to come up. Okay? One more thing, Chrome experiments, and you have access to all this stuff, so anything I did not get to, you can get to. Every little bubble is a different experience. Now, I can't promise what any of them are, but they're all different things. Some of them are really weird, and you're like, okay, well, but like I can move it around. Okay, so that's Chrome experiments. So this again is the site to get the entire slide deck. Please, thank you. Please fill out the evaluation, so maybe Q will let me come back again because I had a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. The one for, okay, I'll fix it. Thank you, I'll fix it. Go ahead and ask permission if you need to, and I'm sure I'll have like 55 of them. Thank you very much.